Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Concession Stand podcast. This podcast is YouTube exclusive for now until we put it on Spotify down the road, hopefully, because I hope it gets that big. Let's go. Claps along.
Let's go.
There are two hosts, me, Carter, as you see down here. That's me. Hi, that's me. And my other host is Jonah, who you see over that
Hello.
way. He doesn't have a face cam, so there's an epic cool photo.
I do have a face cam. I just don't want to use it right now.
He doesn't want to use it right now. Well, eventually he'll show his face, but that's okay.
Eventually.
Little backstory on us: we're just YouTubers that decided to do sports podcasts because we don't talk sports.
We're just really stupid YouTubers. That's all we are.
Really
that just
YouTubers.
Upload like awful stuff. That's all we do.
Pretty much. But this is a kind of side away from that because on our channels we don't really talk sports. This is our sports. This is what we can talk about. So today's topic. First episode, considering it is August 3rd of this recording. I don't know when it's coming out. Hopefully soon.
Couple days after.
Hopefully a couple days after. It is the day after the MLB trade deadline. Now, MLB.com put out every trade deadline deal. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot. A lot happened.
There's a lot. I don't know.
Of them happened today.
Do we honestly go over? I don't know if we should go through all of them because there's
We won't
some that
go
are
over
just like
all of them. We'll go.
it's just some like random person who's kind of irrelevant that got moved for like some prospect that wasn't on someone's top 30 list. So yeah, there's some trades you can just like skip.
We'll skip a few, but I think we should start out with one of the biggest talks going into it, which was
the big one.
The big one, which is who is taking Juan Soto.
Soto, number of teams.
Yeah, number of teams. No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. No, there's other teams. I think it was like it narrowed down to like what the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and the Padres. I think it was the Dodgers and the Padres. I think that and the Cardinals that were like the three teams that were really in the running for him. And I mean, the Dodgers got like the infinite pool of prospects that they can just throw around every single deadline, but no, not this time. They got beat out by the San Diego Padres.
Yeah,
kind of mirror opposite of last year with Max Scherzer.
So, here's the trade: San Diego Padres and Washington Nationals. The Padres acquire outfielder Juan Soto and first baseman Josh Bell from the Nationals for first baseman Luke Voit, left-handed pitcher Mackenzie Gore, shortstop C.J. Abrams, outfielder Robert Hansel III. If I'm messing up these names, let me know because I'm brutal with names. Outfielders James Wood and right-handed pitcher Jerlyn Susana. I think that's how you say it.
Probably, I don't know. I'm not great with names either.
For two big names, Josh Bell, Juan Soto. Josh Bell's kind of the okay, we'll chuck him in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I would also just point out that was not the initial deal. It was, instead of Luke Voit, it was supposed to be Eric Hosmer, but he tried to block it because he didn't want to go to Washington. So, and he had a no trade clause, so they couldn't actually trade him. So the deal was on hold, and I think they just sent him off to like the Red Sox. But I think we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. But yeah,
that was very funny. Like, imagine if he actually like blocked the deal from happening completely. Oh, he would have been the most hated person in San Diego of all time.
Absolutely.
That really would say something.
It says here, first baseman Eric Hosmer. This is quoted by MLB.com. I don't know who wrote the story. I can maybe see it. It doesn't show. That's fine. Whoever wrote the story.
It doesn't have an offer.
Thank you. Who the author is. Thank you. Quote, first baseman Eric Hosmer, who is fifth in the season of an 8-year contract, was initially part of the reported deal, but he refused to waive his no-trade clause. So the Padres sent Voit to Washington in order to finalize the deal. So it looks like Washington wanted another first baseman.
Yeah,
they couldn't. Well, they couldn't get the original.
They wanted Eric Hosmer, but he's not. But I can look up his stats. He wasn't. He's not been good this year. So unless they just want someone to like fill out, so just calling up some like random prospect, and expose him to the majors, because Eric Hosmer, I don't think he's been that great. He's been meh. He's been mad this year.
He's been mad.
I think it's a fair way to put it. 112 OPS plus, 8 homers, 272 batting average. I think that qualifies as meh.
It's meh. Juan Soto playing a hell of a year this year, really doing the best he can.
As he always does.
As he does. Surprise, like, he's doing great. I'm gonna be honest. I think the Padres just fleeced the
Yeah,
Nationals.
they fleeced them. Like
Not
the
only
Nationals,
like
they messed up. They did. That's not the return you get for someone who could go down as an all-time great.
not only do they get one of like the best players right now, they also get a really good switch hitter first baseman.
Yeah,
They pulled that out of their ass. They yanked that. So
and also not to mention is that like the Washington Nationals, I've noticed they've lost two generational talents in like the last 4 years, and actually three.
oh
Are
yeah,
actually,
Trey
I mean,
Turner.
or actually, no, five if you want to include Max Scherzer, Trey Turner, and Anthony Rendon.
It's been 5 years
But,
since that.
um,
Wow.
yeah, of course, they lost Bryce Harper for nothing. They just let him walk as a free agent after wasting him and choking repeatedly in the playoffs.
Next year later, they won a
Um,
World Series. I don't know how much you can.
they
Excuse
somehow
me.
won that after he left.
Sure.
But then they let Anthony Rendon walk. Although to be honest, that was probably a good thing in a way because he's hardly ever played for the Angels. But the guy they did throw money at, Steven Strasburg, is like basically
They
never
wouldn't
even
have
played
anyone.
ever since. He's been like so injured.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. He's gone. Trey Turner just traded last year along with Max Scherzer. Both were gone off the Dodgers. And yep, now it's Juan Soto. And to be honest,
Who's
at least
next?
if you just nail it down to Juan Soto and Bryce Harper, they haven't done a great job
Okay,
at least getting something for them. Okay, at least they got something this time.
they can't
But
keep their outfielders. Okay.
what they got was very underwhelming for the amount that they gave up.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next trade. On the list.
I'd give it like F.
F.
For if you want to grade it,
F
F
for the
for the Nationals.
Nationals.
It's F. That's a very bad trade. Yeah, F.
Yeah, sounds about right. All right, moving on. Dodgers acquire outfielder Joey Gallo from the Yankees for right-handed pitcher Clayton Beeter.
Yeah,
Yankees won that trade.
yeah, that's one of the trades simply by getting rid of Joey Gallo. They simply won that trade just by getting
Not
rid of him so he
only
doesn't get any playing time anymore.
not only do they dump a contract, they also just get a good I'm pretty sure
He was the Dodgers' number
Beater's
15
not
prospect. He was their number 15 prospect.
number 15, but he
for the
has a
Dodgers.
5.75 ERA. Never mind. He's all right. He's meh. Give him a couple. Give Beater a couple years. I think he would be
Yeah,
pretty good. Nothing big about that one.
but I mean, like, yeah, Joey Gallo, he just really badly needs to change his scenery. And I think I did see he did do an interview with a local newspaper. I forgot which one it was.
Mhm.
And it actually was kind of depressing when he read it because he was like, he'd been like constantly harassed by a lot of fans. Which I mean, it's one thing to like, make some like fun of someone, but then yeah, that's just another level. That crosses kind of a line.
Yeah.
When he gets rest, but he just you can't. But just to be blunt, he was just very not good, very, very bad with the Yankees. I don't think anyone could ever deny that or disagree with that. I think literally everyone can agree with that.
I think it was because they made him shave his beard. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, probably.
Same day. This is all yesterday, August 7th. We'll kind of skim over this because we talked about it a little bit already.
Yeah.
Red Sox acquire first baseman Eric Hosmer, 2 prospects in cash from the Padres for left-handed pitcher Jay Groom. You get rid of the guy who didn't want to trade. He goes to Boston. Whoop-de-doo. Not really much to talk about there.
Yeah. Simple as to that. I mean, I just want to also point out, and I don't know if we like discussed a little bit more about this, but the Red Sox had a kind of very odd trade deadline. Like everyone said, they were going to like sell people, and they did trade away Christian Vasquez, but then this almost feels like they were kind of doing both, selling bonds. Like, what are they trying to do? Like, if you're going to do one thing, shouldn't you like commit to it? Like, you're going to sell players. Why did they not trade away JD Martinez? He's part of the Red Sox still. They didn't trade away. They could trade with Xander Bogaerts, although I don't think they were actually going to trade away. But still,
No.
if they were serious about selling, they could have possibly if they wanted to. There's a lot of players they could have traded away, but they didn't do that.
They had their chance. Another kind of big trade. Phillies acquire Noah Syndergaard, right-handed pitcher, from the Angels for an outfielder and another outfielder. So Mickey Monak
Was the number 1 pick in 2016 MLB draft,
and
but has not
Jadel
been
Sanchez.
good this year. He made his date.
I don't know who he is.
Um, I mean, hey, they need they
Outfielders are
need to make a
outfielders.
move. I mean, the Phillies are like in the race. I think they're behind right now, but they're still in the wild card race for sure. And well, I don't think their pitching was that great, so they kind of had to make those moves. I think Noah Syndergaard was one that the Blue Jays were actually like looking at, and I think they were actually like the runners up for him. Like they were like right at the wire, but the Phillies edged them out to get him, which I mean would have been odd if you went to the Blue Jays because that's basically trying to reverse their worst ever trade from like
Yeah.
what 9 years ago.
Yeah. We'll skim
Well,
over
trade him for a
this.
knuckleballer.
That knuckleballer got him to the World Series, or got him to
Yeah,
the playoffs. Anyways, skim over this one. This one's a little one. Twins acquire Tyler Molly. Did I say it? From the Reds for 3 prospects.
Melee Molly.
Maley Molly. Move on from that one. August 2nd.
That's something. I'll just say is that like it's just it's a move that I think the Twins made a lot of moves that especially like with the to improve their bullpen. They made a lot of very good moves. And I mean I think they're a much better team now for sure. And I think they're also I'm pretty sure that they're currently in the lead, still in the division. They got to hold off both the Guardians and the White Sox. Although I still don't see the White Sox ever getting anywhere as long as they have Mr. I don't know how to properly manage a baseball game as their manager still.
Yeah. Another
Clearly
kind
too
of
old to manage.
meh trade. Another, I would say interesting actually.
Actually, that's a pretty good one.
Braves acquired right-handed pitcher Raciel Iglesias, all-star by the way, from the Angels for Blue Jays legend Jesse Chavez and left-handed pitcher Tucker Davidson. I don't know how I think the Braves fleeced the Angels seem to just be like selling this year, but
it's a shame. I mean, like they should be better, but I guess that they're. I would compare them to the Edmonton Oilers, but you can't anymore since the Oilers actually had success for the first time ever.
There you go.
With McDavid and Drysdale, so that's not even a fair comparison anymore.
You're right.
They just can't make the playoffs. They've what? I mean, this whole thing gets beaten down like crazy. They've never. They've only played 3 playoff games ever since getting Mike Trout, and never any since getting Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is almost certainly leaving. I would think he'd almost certainly leave after 2023 because he's a free agent. That's why they didn't trade Shohei Ohtani. I think there were rumors that they might, but I think the ownership didn't want to trade him away now. But I have a suspicion they might do it. I have a suspicion they may do it in the offseason. However.
Give them.
Who knows where he goes?
Yeah, that could be a little.
Crazy. I hope he comes over to Toronto, but I mean that's probably like not happening. No. I that's unlikely.
No. Okay. Blue Jays acquire Whit Merrifield, second baseman outfielder from the Royals for second baseman outfielder Samed Taylor and right-handed pitcher Max Castillo. Blue Jays, I think, won that one.
Oh boy, that's it's
Which is interesting because
I mean, with Merrifield, I mean to be fair, he's not been good this year. He's had a pretty rough season, but I mean it does say here he was like the 2-time All-Star, and he's twice led the American League in hits and 3 times led the American League in stolen bases in the past.
He's also
but he's just not been good this year. 246 home runs and 15 steals. But I think it's time to address the elephant in the room with Mr. Merrifield. And
you want to give a little context first, or do you want me to?
You know what? Let's just go back to a couple weeks ago when the Kansas City Royals were traveling to Toronto, and about 40% of their roster could not travel to Canada because they weren't vaccinated.
Here's the thing: in Canada, when you enter and you travel, you must be vaccinated.
You have to be vaccinated.
Yes. You have to be vaccinated.
The United States has the same rule too.
Frankly,
too. That's something that often doesn't get mentioned, but I'll just put that out there. The United States also has the same rule, but
yeah,
kind of doesn't affect American teams, so that doesn't get talked about much. But yeah, so they had the rule,
which hurt.
A lot of teams whined about it.
Which also hurt like other teams too, because if you think about it, like NBA, like when Brooklyn came up to see the Raptors, Kyrie Irving couldn't play.
I mean, it was worse for them because for a while New York City had the same rules, and because of that, he like they weren't even playing at all. And then once everyone on their team got COVID, then they ended up basically like doing half a season, like basically being only a home player. But so instead, what and go back to kids rules, of those 40% of the players that missed the game, Whit Merrifield was one of them. And I think he had angered Royals fans. I think he said he wouldn't get vaccinated while he was with Royals, but he said he might if he was traded to a contender that might play the Blue Jays in the postseason.
Guess
But to
what?
play Canada.
You're
Well,
playing
guess
for
what? That's not that. No, you're playing for the Blue Jays now. So
One, he gets a
Um,
shoot off to the fans saying, "Yeah, our team's not going to make it. You suck." Second, he says, "You know what? Maybe I'll consider if I win." Respect.
yeah, that's why it is. But I don't even know if he is. I haven't heard anything about whether or not he's going to do it. And if not, so we might have like an almost opposite, somewhat opposite Kyrie Irving situation where instead of like where like he's an away only player, he only plays on the road. Whereas like Kyrie,
Which would kind of suck.
actually that was kind of the same with Kyrie Irving too. He only played on the road. He only played in country. He only played in cities or other outside of New York that didn't have the vaccine mandate in place, and also not in Canada either.
Yeah.
So something like that. Who knows what's going to happen? And I mean, he's been kind of rough this year, but who knows? Maybe if you just toss him into that lineup, maybe he'll get better. Maybe he'll be. I know this joke's been beaten into the crowd several times. A shot in the arm, perhaps. It's been beaten to the ground many times, but yeah.
Yeah, and before anyone asks, no, we're not gonna put our opinion on COVID. Frankly, I don't really care what you do. Just do you. Anyways, another
It's
thing.
just kind of hilarious. Like the whole situation. It's
just kind of
really
funny. Another thing is that he's 33. It says here he's 33.
Yeah.
How old? Like if you think about it, Simeon was coming in last year. He was around. What was he? 35, maybe a little younger.
Younger than that, I think.
He was 30. He might have been around his 30s. Came out had
He was 31.
31.
Or like 30. Or 31, 30.
31, 30, around that time.
Yeah.
Came out, had the best year of his career. Could we see Merrifield have the same thing? Come out,
Fully turn it around.
flip it 180.
Not only
turns
though.
Even still, you could flip
But
it.
yeah,
It could
possible.
be the young guns. Anywho, moving on from the Jays because there are more Jays trades later. We
Yeah.
can talk about this all the time. Another pretty big trade. Cardinals
made a lot of
acquire.
moves.
Yankees were on top of it this year. Cardinals acquire left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery from the Yankees for outfielder Harrison Bader and a player to be named later or cash. Here's the thing.
I think it's simple. They got Harrison Bader because, like, well, I guess now they needed a new outfielder. Now they got rid of Joey Gallo. They needed to replace him with somebody.
Here's the thing.
So that's why I turned to Harrison Bader. But why did the Cardinals sell him, though? Because I'm pretty sure they're still in contention,
He's
too.
injured. So it says here Bader is currently injured, is on the IL with a right foot plantar I'm not even going to say that.
Oh, is there fasciitis?
Fasciitis? Something like that.
It might be fasciitis.
Injured. He's injured. He's injured.
Yeah.
So you have him out for however long it takes. Get rid of him. He's going to take up money.
Yeah.
Especially with the Yankees being like the Yankees can afford to take Harrison Bader. I don't know what his contract is. I'm pretty sure it's meh.
It's like $5.2 million.
5.2. Cardinals could probably use that. Going into
I mean, the Cardinals got
anything's anything.
I mean, a solid reliever in Troy Montgomery.
Yeah, you get a good reliever.
Wait, why did I say reliever? No, why I say reliever? He's been like starter, or I mean, he's kind of both.
You get a one-ish, like you get a in and out guy. Like
I think you're gonna use him for rotation because like the rotation's been like injured a lot, so I think they needed some more
utility
depth.
pitcher.
They need more depth because you had like Jack Flaherty and Steven Matz being injured, so they had to find someone.
Legends.
And I guess the Yankees needed outfield depth, I guess, but maybe for later. I don't know.
Okay, next trade. Phillies acquire right-handed pitcher David Robinson from the Cubs for Ben Brown. Don't really care. Move on.
Well, it's in both. I mean, Phillies need more bullpens. All bullpen arms because for like as long as I can remember, at least for several years, their bullpen's been horrific.
Aren't they both
actually
bullpen pitchers?
Even cost them players. So yeah, sure.
It's a bullpen for bullpen.
Whatever, it's a bullpen for bullpen. Yeah.
Twins acquire Michael Fulmer, right-handed pitcher Michael Fulmer from the Tigers for right-handed pitcher Sawyer Gibson Long. Move on. Whoop-de-doo. The Tigers got Fulmer 7 years ago, and now they got rid of him. Woohoo.
I got rid of him, but it's now reliever. Pretty good move for the Twins.
Pretty good move for the Twins.
They've gotten a lot better, I'd argue, with especially with their bullpen.
Yeah. Padres are coming back. They
They
acquire
got Blue Jays legend Brandon Drury.
Blue Jays legend, second baseman, third baseman Brendan Drury from the Reds.
Surprisingly,
for
he hasn't been that horrible this year, which is really shocking because he was horrific in Toronto. But I think this year he's actually been like he's actually been pretty solid.
There you go.
20 homers in 92 games.
Yeah,
855 OPS. That's shockingly good. That's not something I ever saw Brandon Drury, especially when he was in Toronto.
Where was that Brendan Drury a couple years ago? Anywho, Phillies acquire outfielder Brendan Marsh from Angels for catcher Logan O'Hoppe. Brendan Marsh, I'm pretty sure he's all right. Honestly, when you live in Canada, it's Jays, and that's
I guess just have more outfield depth for them.
Yeah, more outfielders.
Angels, just
Angels,
sellers again.
Absolutely selling.
Who remembers when they were actually like good? I think they were like the best team in the AL West at one point this year. Like they were ahead of the Astros, but they've just fallen off so hard.
This is kind of a long trade. Mets acquire first baseman outfielder Darren Ruff from the Giants for third baseman outfielder J.D. Davis, left-handed pitcher Thomas Zapushki. I'm going to butcher that. Whatever. Left-handed pitcher Nick Zwack. Butchered that for sure. Sorry, Nick. Right-handed pitcher Carson Seymour. So
it looks like they want to use Darren Roof as like a platoon hitter.
Maybe.
At least because it says he's below average at the plate, 98 OPS plus, but he has had an 86 OPS against left-handed pitching, so probably just want a platoon bat for against lefties.
He will
not much more to put.
A bench bat.
Yeah.
Next trade, Blue Jays reacquire Blue Jays legend Anthony Bass and Zach Pop from the Marlins for shortstop Jordan Groshans. I'm not gonna lie.
Anthony Bass wasn't that bad in 2020 for the Blue Jays. He was pretty good. He's been like amazing this year. Was it like 1.41 ERA? Zach Pop, I actually had to look up who he was because I wasn't really familiar with him at all.
He's not bad.
He's been solid. Jordan Groshans, I'm not honestly like that upset about trading him, and I've got like two reasons. One, you can see over here he's been struggling badly. This year.
He's
and
hitting
also
247 with one homer over 299 plate appearances. That is saying something. Get rid of him.
Also, he was never really going to get playing time because he was always going to get blocked by Bichette.
Yeah.
So he was, or even like Orelvis Martinez is higher in the depth chart than him. At least when it comes to prospects, and he's a shortstop. So like basically, they weren't never gonna. No. He never really was gonna ever have a spot on the team for sure. So it kind of made sense to trade him now.
And that's literally it for all Blue Jay trades.
Or they could have gotten more, but yeah.
I remember when
they didn't make many moves.
What was his name? Austin Martin, was that his name? To Twins. I'm like, you literally just got him, and a couple month or so later you trade him.
Or like a year.
I'm like that. I never understood trading prospects in baseball. It was like, why would you? It's like in hockey. It's like, why would you trade Austin Matthews to somewhere else for someone like?
Yeah, because I mean, like when most of the time the person you get is almost certainly not going to be as good as the guy you traded away, especially if it's like a pretty good player. But he might be something. I mean, George Groshans might be something, and I'd like to see him be something, even if it's like in Miami. At least it's not hurting the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
because I play Marlins not often.
Next trade, Twins acquire right-hander Jorge Lopez from the Orioles for left-handed pitcher Cade Povich, left-handed pitcher Juan Roja, is it Roja? I think it's Roja.
Rojas. I think it's
Rojas.
Rojas.
Right-handed pitcher Yenner Cano, and right-handed pitcher Juan Nunez. The trades are just Twins are loading up like their bullpen, like holy, but cool.
I mean,
Twins
I
are
think
loading and dumping their bullpen at the same time.
they're really going for it, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, their bullpen was not the best.
No.
To start. No, it wasn't the best. Like, a lot of the guys.
Well, look at them.
Their
now.
closer has like a 4.62 ERA, so that's not really great.
Well, look at them.
And a lot of them. So they did have to make big moves, and also they got to solidify their division lead, which, honestly, I don't even think the Guardians made any moves. If they did, it was nothing impactful, and same with the White Sox.
Yeah.
And why would the White Sox ever challenge?
Yeah.
Come on.
Moving on, Braves acquire right-handed Jake Odorizzi from the Astros for Will Smith. Or left-handed pitcher Will Smith. Not the catcher, left-handed pitcher Will Smith. Yes, there's two Will Smiths.
And also,
well, no, there's three.
Also, not the guy who slapped Chris Walker at the Oscars.
Isn't there three Will Smiths in the MLB? None of them are related.
Yeah, I think so.
Odorizzi,
probably.
Not bad. He has a 3.75 ERA over 12 starts. Not bad.
A little bit of an interesting trade.
His career ERA is 3.94, so like it's average. It's not horrible, but it's also not good. But for career for 8 seasons or something, 7-8 seasons, not bad.
I mean, I think the Astros rotation was already very solid, and I think he was kind of just excess goods.
Yeah, Will Smith.
Also, I think he's been injured for a lot of the year too. Odorizzi.
Yeah, Will Smith, for a 3.87 ERA since 2022. This season, he has a 4.38 ERA over 37 innings. Not really the best, but as a closer, also you don't want to see that. Moving on, Mariners acquire catcher Kurt Casale and left-handed pitcher Matthew Boyd from the Giants for right-handed pitcher.
That wasn't among the big moves.
No,
that the Mariners made. That was just a
scoot off after
trade.
This one.
That was just for depth.
For right-handed pitcher Michael Strafler and catcher Andy Thomas. So pitcher for pitcher, catcher for catcher. Nothing else. Move on. Brewers acquire right-handed pitcher Trevor Rosenthal from the Giants for outfielder Tristan Peters. Cool. They're not bad either.
It was a pretty good one. Well, what else do we have?
We got Mariners acquire third base outfielder Jake Lamb for the Dodgers for cash or player to be named later.
Not been good in the last couple of years, but it's just like probably just random
someone.
Depth piece, probably.
Just someone for nothing. Here was one that I kind of found interesting. Orioles acquire outfielder Brett Phillips from the Rays for cash. Brett Phillips was DFA'd.
Yeah, so he was gone. He was gone out. He was gone. So
they literally DFA'd him. Nobody took him. They're like, okay, who wants to take him for cash? Me. Of course, the Orioles will throw their hand up for that.
Of course, they'll do that. Just want to find someone. They just want to find anyone. Although to be fair, they actually have been like not terrible this year. I mean, I had to look up the record, but I believe they are. Let me just bring it up. They're fourth in the AL East. They're ahead of the Red Sox, who
we're still
didn't even do anything. They still suggested that they're still acting like they could be something.
Yeah. Okay.
Possible, but I doubt it.
Orioles, Rays, no.
Know how bad they were in July.
Mets acquire right-handed pitcher Michael Givens for the Cubs for right-handed pitcher Sewell Gonzalez. I don't think they're.
Yeah, I mean
they're
the
decent.
Mets just want more bullpen depth. I don't know. The Mets were kind of weirdly quiet. They didn't really make any moves, which I mean, that's not the way they've kind of operated under their new owners. So that kind of a little bit surprised me a bit.
Jonah, I lied.
What? Yeah.
There was another Blue Jays trade. The Blue Jays acquire right-handed pitcher Mitch White and infielder Alex De Jesus. I think that's how you say it. From the Dodgers for right-handed pitcher Nick Frazzo and left-handed pitcher Moses Burrito.
Oh, I mean, I think
not
he said he
Burrito.
had good numbers, but I think he said he had good numbers, but like he basically like the Dodgers have so much that he basically was excess goods at that point, so they could just trade him for a couple of random prospects.
There you go. Get rid of him.
Yeah, what's that?
Royals acquire outfielder Brent Rooker from Padres for a catcher Cam Gallagher. Don't really
Nothing
care.
really
Move on.
doesn't matter.
Reds acquire catcher Austin Romaine from Cardinals for cash.
Just depth for a
33-year-old
very
dude.
bad team.
He's 33-year-old hitting 154 with 28 at bats. He's riding the pine the entire season.
Yeah.
Cardinals acquire catcher Austin Allen from the Athletics for right-handed pitcher Carlos Garotti. There's your 20. There's your other catcher.
It's just depth. I mean, you can skip a lot of these ones because they're kind of just like for depth or like just to find some guy to fill in a spot.
Okay, we'll
like
go through these
team.
quickly. Pirates acquire right-handed pitcher Jeremy Beasley from the Blue Jays for cash. Twins acquire Sandy Leon from the Guardians for right-handed pitcher Ian Hamilton. And that is the end of yesterday. We are now on to August 1st. This goes between now, like yesterday, to the All-Star break. So they might have a couple
Ones that happened a very long time ago, but
Yeah.
still, we can take a look
still
at them.
talk about them. Braves acquire outfielder Robbie Grossman from the Tigers for left-handed pitcher Chris Anglin.
I was just to move for a platoon batter.
Yep.
Matt Bush. Oh boy, that man
Where are
very
you?
interesting. No, I'm about to trade right after.
Oh,
Brewers acquire right-hand pitcher Matt Bush from Rangers for infielder Mark Mathias and left-hand pitcher Antoine Kelly. I don't know. I'm still remembering like the guy who, he was drafted as a shortstop because of the very troubled stuff that happened in between. Didn't even make his debut as a pitcher until 2016 with the Rangers, and he was like a guy that started the brawl for the Blue Jays, but also the guy that like screwed them over in the ALDS that year.
I remember that.
Yeah, he was the guy who kind of screwed up for them.
An extra thing. So ha ha ha. August 1st, Cardinals acquire left-handed pitcher Jose Quintana and right-handed pitcher Chris Stratton from the Pirates for right-handed pitcher Johan Oviedo and
Oviedo,
something
like that, probably.
and third baseman Malcolm Nunez. Cool.
Nunez.
Cool.
I took Spanish, so I knew that that's what the N with the squiggly thing is.
Couple prospects.
Yeah.
There's really nothing big. Astros. This is kind of the bigger one I saw the day before. Astros acquire catcher Christian Vasquez from the Red Sox for outfielder. So Emmanuel Valdez and outfielder Willier Abreu.
I mean that's just catchers have just been like god awful. I mean they've been god awful for a long time, actually. To be fair, but that's just kind of just shoring up a very weak position, and again, confusing deadline. Because I mean, trading away Christian Vasquez would kind of suggest you're selling.
And then,
but you know what? I'll get to later, because I think later once we're done with the trades, we can kind of discuss like who got better, who got worse. What do you think may happen from here?
Yeah, we can do that.
So
Red Sox acquire this
Blue
Blue Jays legend and also police station legend Reese McGuire and a player to be named later for White Sox or from the White Sox for Jake Dykman.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to describe it too much because I don't want to get video age restricted. But the best way I could sum it up is that he was playing with his stick in a car. And got caught by police and got arrested for it.
Police
I'm not going to describe any more about that. You can look it up if you want to. I just don't want to get this age restricted.
Yeah, you can Google Reese McGuire incident on Google. We are not telling you to, but if you're that interested, be my guest. Cool. Jake Dykman. He's a veteran who has a 4.23 ERA with 51 strikeouts.
Not great. I don't know. That's just some. I don't know. That just feels like I think the Royals just had to find a catcher because again they traded with Christian Vasquez, so they needed someone
Yeah.
to
Uh,
replace
Here's
replace McGuire.
another trade that is interesting. Red Sox acquire outfielder Tommy Pham from the Reds for a player to be named later. So it's like they were trying to sell, but they're also trying to collect at the same time. It was so weird because Tommy Pham hitting 238 with a 694 OPS, 11 home runs. Not horrible.
I mean, I have to wonder. Like again, this. I mean, it's just all confusing because that kind of signals a move to try to get better, but then you trade away your starting catcher. So I don't know.
The
I really
Royals
don't know.
acquire right-handed pitcher Luke Weaver from the Diamondbacks for third baseman Evanil Rivera. Cool, move on. Whatever.
Here's a very big one after that.
Yeah.
Very big one.
The Yankees acquire right-handed pitcher Frankie Montas and right-handed pitcher Lou Trevino from the Athletics for 4 prospects. Huh. I think it says it does say prospects.
It does say the prospects down
at the bottom. So the prospects were Ken.
They gave up their number 5, their number 10, number 20, number 21 prospect. The Yankees.
So it's left-hander Ken Waldichuk, which was number 5, right-hander Luis Medina, which is number 10, left-hander JP Sears, which is their number 20, and second baseman Cooper Bowman, which was their number 21. Prospects. Interesting, to say the least. For a 29-year-old righty.
Kind of sad.
In Montez.
Kind of frustrating because he's got much better doing this.
Yep. Cool.
But I mean, the pitching's been amazing, but it does say here. But yeah, Luis Severino got injured, and one of their best relievers, Michael King, had a season-ending injury. So I think they just needed more pitching depth. So they went and got a very good pitcher.
Yeah.
Frankie Montas. One of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah. Get rid of them.
That's like not even pretending to tank.
Yep. 3-team trade. Try to follow along. Astros acquire first baseman outfielder Trey Mancini from Baltimore, and right-handed pitcher Jaden Murray from Tampa Bay. Rays acquire outfielder Jose Siri from Houston. Orioles acquire right-handed pitcher Seth Johnson from Tampa Bay and right-handed pitcher Chase McDermott from Houston in a 3-man trade. Follow along. If you could follow along with that, congratulations. You get yourself a glass of milk.
I mean, like, the Astros needed a first base because Julio Guerrero's just not been great this year, so they needed a first base, and they got a very good one, the Astros. But I'm a little bit confused. I mean, I guess the Orioles are still in sell mode, but you can pull up the standings. They're only currently. They're only just 1.5 games out of a wild card spot,
which is weird to think about.
To be honest, you could make the argument they should actually be buying right now, not selling, because again they're so close, and also they've tortured their fans for all these years, for like the last 4 years.
2016 wild card. Sorry, who said that?
I don't know, someone.
I don't know.
Yeah, that just totally broke them, and they've been so ridiculously horrible ever since that happened.
Yep. The Padres are back at it again. They acquire left-handed pitcher Josh Hader from the Brewers for left-handed pitcher Taylor Rogers, left-handed pitcher Robert Gasser, outfielder Ruiz. I'm not even gonna say it. Estuary. And right-handed pitcher Dinelson Lamet.
Ruiz. Yeah.
Cool. Padres are just collecting. If they don't win the World Series this year, there's going to be a riot, I swear.
Well, I mean, they've never won a World Series, so
yeah,
I don't know if they'll be right. They're kind of used to it. But it just kind of confused why the Brewers did, because again, they were seeming buying earlier, but then they trade away their closer, and they get Taylor Rogers, who has not been good recently.
Yep.
Although, also to be fair, Josh Hader has been not good either in the last month, because this year he was very he was horrific in July, and his ERA that ballooned it all the way up to 4.24.
Sounds about right.
So he was horrific in July too. So was Taylor Rogers. Not as bad. Josh Hader had a 12.54 ERA in July. Taylor Rogers had a 9.31 ERA, which is better, but still,
yep,
not really you want out of a closer. and also, yeah, they just. I'm pretty sure they DFA'd Dinelson Lamet right afterwards, as soon as they got him. The Brewers. So like that was just a confusing trade. It's like they're basically just swapped struggling closers, I guess. But I don't know. It's just confused. It's just very confusing. I think Taylor Rogers is a lot cheaper than Josh Hader because he was making $11 million a year and is entering his final year of arbitration next year. I don't know what Taylor Rogers' contract is, but it's definitely not 11 million. It's less than that.
Yeah, we're gonna skip a couple
It just feels like they're just trying to cut costs. That's almost what it feels like.
We're gonna skip a couple because some of them are kind of just whatever for whatever. We're gonna skip to July 29th, where the Mariners acquire right-handed pitcher Luis Castillo from the Reds for 4 prospects.
Yeah, that's someone who I think the Blue Jays should have made a move for.
They should have, but no.
They really should have, but no, the Mariners get him instead, and I think they're right there as well.
The
Mariners, they got good reason. Again, this is nothing like get beaten into the ground, but obviously they haven't made the playoffs in since 2001.
Years. Literal years.
2020. Literal decades. Decades.
Oh yeah, it's been 2 decades.
Because it's been 2001 was the last time they even made. I think it's the longest drought for any professional North American sports team right now. So clearly they wanted to. They want to end that, especially after last year when they missed it, when they lost their bid to make the playoffs on the final day last year. Just another team. Yeah.
We'll skip down to the one beside it or underneath it. Mets acquired outfielder Taylor Naquin for left-handed pitcher Philippe Deal from the Reds for 2 prospects. It looks like the Reds are just completely selling.
Yeah, they're horrible, so they have to sell it.
Yeah, nothing more about that. Yankees acquire outfielder Andrew Benintendi. This is July 27th. I think that the other one was July 28th. No, the last one was July 28th. This one is July 27th. Yankees acquire outfielder Andrew Benintendi from the Royals for 3 prospects. The prospects,
He's had a very good year, but it's also very important to assume that he was also among that same group of the 40% of Kansas City Royals players who were not vaccinated and thus couldn't enter Canada.
Yeah.
Now, initially, I think the people were saying, that the Yankees actually wouldn't trade for him because they were only going to go after guys who were vaccinated, because just in case they actually play the Blue Jays in the playoffs, they don't want to be missing a crucial player. But I assume they may not care about that anymore, or they assume he's getting the vaccine. I don't know. That's just another kind of thing just to point out.
Yeah.
But he's done very well this season, best seasons of his career.
Yep. We'll go last trade, because it's the last one on here since All-Star. So this one, July 22nd, Mets acquire Blue Jays legend, absolute GOAT, first baseman / DH Daniel Vogelbach from the Pirates for right-handed pitcher Colin Holderman.
I mean,
Buddy has wheels.
This just wants some more pop because he's bad average ain't that great, but he had stingers. Also remember that time where he played 2 games for it was 2 games for the Blue Jays, and then they quickly cut him after that.
Blue Jays legend, absolute GOAT.
He had 0 hits and 1 walk in just 2 games.
They had a really short leash on him.
Yeah,
man. All right,
yeah, that's it.
That's it.
So actually, I think we should do a little bit of a talk about who do you think got better, and who do you think kind of might be falling back now, and what happens from here on out. So again, to the last 2 months of the regular season, still a lot of games to go. I think, at least from the American League standpoint, I think the Yankees, the 3 division leaders currently, the Yankees, Astros, and Twins got much better.
They added. They got a couple good trades.
They got much better. The Seattle Mariners got much better as well, and the Blue Jays got marginally better. So,
Marge.
like, I think they
You
got
guys
better, but
added.
also
I think
I
the
do think they might have got the Blue Jays overall. They kind of got worse just because their main opponents got much better.
yeah, and that's just the natural. Hey, we got better. It's like, oh
So
shit.
yeah. Although the only good thing is that most of their other opponents for the wild card round didn't really do much at all. I don't think the Rays did much to improve, although I guess they're clearly hoping for
I think
internal improvement because who knows what it's a Tampa Bay Rays. Who
they
knows
they were only in
what kind
there.
of magic they'll pull off?
The Rays were only in there for what three team trade, and then they got rid of Brett Phillips.
Yeah, but again, it's the Rays. They're probably gonna just call up some random prospect you've never heard of that just goes off for them like what always happens.
Yeah, which is the Rays way. Reds
Also
completely
like
sold. They
and also like from the American League standpoint, a lot of their other opponents didn't get much better either. They didn't even make hardly trades. Like the Cleveland didn't really make any moves at
Cleveland
all.
was in there once.
Technically, Baltimore's in it, but they were selling. They don't have any interest in competing this year.
No, or
The
next
White
year,
Sox
or the
didn't
year
really make
after.
any. The White Sox didn't make any moves there,
Oh, they
but
got rid of police.
but
They
the
got rid of
but
prison legend Reese McGuire.
but they're only two, but the White Sox are only 2 games back for a wild card spot. The Orioles are only 1.5 games out. The Guardians are only 1 game out. Red Sox did kind of both buying and
Who
selling.
are in?
They're currently only 3 games out,
Who are?
and yeah, that's kind of the only teams that I think are really like left in
That's,
contention for the wild card. It's a very crowded and honestly a very tight race.
hey, entertaining.
There's
Baseball.
still like there's still like 7 teams that
Yeah,
could
the
like
Jays lost today.
snag the free wild card spots. And moving over to the National League, a little bit surprising from the Dodgers that they were kind of quiet-ish by their standards. Because normally wants to have been the guy who just
Gallo,
go
and that
right to
was
them.
then the Dodgers just pretty much picked up Gallo and said, you know what? Yeah, we're done, and they kind of just left.
I mean, they could have.
for
The team that might gone for one so, but they didn't even. They got beaten out by the Padres, which usually goes the other way around.
Can we just talk about? Hold on.
But also they've got like a massive. But also they're like 10 games. Like they got like an over 10 game lead over the Padres for the division, so they're probably not that concerned about that at least.
Probably not. Quickly.
And also and also I'm a little bit surprised the Mets didn't make bigger moves because they're like an absolute dogfight with the Braves for the NL East. So I'm a little bit surprised. Although it's almost a guarantee that one of them's gonna get that they're both at least gonna sneak into the playoffs. But still, I would have thought the Mets might have made bigger moves, but not really.
No.
And also, I mean, the Phillies.
They got Bogle back though.
The Phillies. I mean, yeah, the Phillies made a lot of big moves. Cardinals didn't, even though like
They
the
got
two are.
rid of their kind of.
I don't know why, because the Cardinals are only half a game back to the Phillies for the final wild card spot. So I thought they'd have made moves, but they kind of didn't.
No.
And that's kind of all the rest of the teams. Basically, maybe the San Francisco Giants, although they didn't really do anything, and they've been like fading fast, so they're probably not getting in. And yeah, no one else is gonna come anywhere close to sniffing the playoffs.
Can we talk about how Toronto is 11 games back from New York? Seattle in the AL West is 11 games back from Houston.
That's just how good the Astros and Eagles have been this year.
And San Diego in the NL West
Pressing.
is 11 and a half games back from the Dodgers. What is this league, bro?
Yeah, I think there's really just like now at least we're gonna be talking about like looking at the postseason.
I think from now on,
I think the very clear favorite from the the three top dogs are clearly the Yankees, Astros, and Dodgers.
Yeah.
They're clearly like the heavy favorites. I think the Padres are a lot better now, and who knows? Of course, it's playoff baseball, and if it can happen. Because like what that 1 year
Royals won.
The Braves won last year.
Braves won last year.
Like,
Royals
no one
won.
never thought they were going to win last year.
Yep.
So like it doesn't mean much. And also, even though the Blue Jays could get, and even though technically the whole wildcard expansion helps them out, they could still miss out. They don't have a wildcard spot locked down, so they could easily slip out of it, especially if they go on a very cold run. So it kind of matters for all these teams, and I think especially the AL wildcard one, because the NL wildcard is kind of it's close, but there's only like a handful of teams that are into that, like maybe two or like maybe one or two teams that could probably like sneak into a wild card spot from the National League, but from the American League, you could see like four teams that are currently on the outside looking in that if they just go on a hot run, they could find themselves right back in the wild card.
Yep.
Of course, will it happen? I don't know. What on the American League side, that includes both the White Sox and the Red Sox, so I don't know. Maybe it could happen. Maybe it won't. Who knows?
Here's what I've learned from my baseball experience. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point where the Red Sox were like second in the American League East by like a
Look at
big
them now.
margin.
I think
And now they're like 500.
Yeah.
They're at like 500 right now.
okay.
It's kind of impressive because of how bad they were in July. That they're only at 500 and not like deep in the red, one record wise.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time we wrap this up.
Yeah.
It's been fun. Let us know in the comments below what your opinion is on the trade deadline, what topics you want us to talk about next time. I don't know when we're going to upload this. I don't know when the next episode's going to come out.
Sometime.
Bear with us. We're I don't know about Jonah, but I'm very busy this summer. Well,
not that busy.
maybe Jonah will do a couple episodes by himself where he talks about his hot takes.
No.
That might be a series, Jonah's hot takes, where it's just like a 5-minute clip or whatever.
Could be.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Check out our personal channels in the description below. They will be linked somewhere. MLB playoffs are coming up in the next couple months, and the last stretch of the season. I think interesting baseball will happen. We got other topics to talk about next week. I think. What do you want to talk about next week? What are you thinking? There's some racing news going on in F1. We can talk about that.
I mean, you can talk about that, but I'll leave a lot of that to you.
That's
because
fine.
I don't really watch.
I'm
F1.
down with that.
I don't watch racing, but I'm fine with that.
I'm down with that. We might talk about that next week. We'll see by the time that comes up. But thank you guys so much for watching. Jonah, anything else you want to say?
No.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for watching.
I don't have anything else to say.
That's good. That's all right. We're good. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in episode 2. Goodbye.
Bye.